Welcome back to the AI Factory. Today we're going to explore one of the smallest yet most important components inside every AI factory. Imagine spending billions of dollars building one of the most advanced AI data centers. Thousands of NVIDIA GPUs, miles and miles of fiber optic cable, powerful lasers sending information at nearly the speed of light. Everything is ready, except you got one tiny problem. None of those servers can communicate with each other because every AI factory depends on thousands of tiny devices called optical transceivers. And these tiny modules are responsible for carrying enormous amounts of information between AI servers every second. Without them, the world's fastest GPUs become isolated computers. So today we're going to answer three questions. Exactly is an optical transceiver? Why does every AI factory need thousands of them? Finally, which three companies are helping build this critical part of the AI factory? So let's take a look. Understand why transceivers matter. First, let's understand what they actually do. Inside every AI server, information begins as an electrical signal. Electricity can efficiently travel long distances between thousands of AI servers, or else you'd have miles and miles of copper wiring. So instead, that information needs to travel to light. And this is where optical transceivers come in. Think of it as a translator. One side speaks electricity, the other side speaks light. The transceiver converts electrical signals into pulses of light, as you can see there. Then they send these pulses across fiber optic cables, then converts the light back into electrical signals for another server to process. It's happening millions of times every second. And without the optical transceivers, fiber optic cables wouldn't be able to communicate with AI servers. And without that communication, large AI clusters simply could not function. And that brings us to one of the most important ideas in the AI factory. Every component has one critical job. So let's zoom out and see where optical transceivers fits inside the bigger AI factory picture. Now that we understand what an optical transceiver does, let's zoom out and see where it fits inside the AI factory. One of the goals of the series is to understand how every component works together before we decide which companies might benefit. The AI factory can be broken into six major systems. You got power generation, which creates electricity. Without power, nothing else matters. Power infrastructure delivers that electricity safely and efficiently to thousands of servers. Once the servers are powered, the networking moves the data. And that's where today's story takes place, inside networking. Every component performs one critical job. And then you got the fiber optics that carries the light. Fiber optic cables are the highways connecting the AI servers throughout the factory. Lasers create the light. Tiny semiconductor lasers generate the pulses of light that carry the information. And then transceivers sends the light, and they convert electrical signals into light, transmit that light through the fiber optics, then convert it back into electricity for the next AI server. And then finally, the switches direct the traffic. And just like a traffic controller at a busy airport or a traffic light, network switches decide exactly where every packet of data needs to go. And after the networking system has done its job, the data reaches the compute layer. AI servers bring everything together. They house the GPUs, the memory, the networking hardware, and storage into complete systems. GPUs create the intelligence, and this is where AI models perform trillions of calculations. And memory feeds the GPUs. They feed the GPUs what is essentially data or food, and without high-speed memory, even the fastest GPU spends time waiting. And then storage keeps the knowledge. Models, training databases, and AI outputs all live in storage until they're needed. Above compute sits the AI cloud. Its job is simple: deliver the intelligence. Companies rent AI computing power through the cloud instead of building their own AI factory. And then finally, at the top sits software. Its job is to put the intelligence to work, whether it's ChatGPT, autonomous vehicles, drug discovery, or enterprise AI. Software is where users experience the value created by the entire AI factory. So today, we're only focusing on one small part of that system, and that's networking. And inside networking, we're focusing on the tiny device responsible for moving information between thousands of AI servers, the optical transceiver. But understanding where it fits is only part of the story. The next question is even more important. Why does every AI factory suddenly need so many of them? The answer comes down to one word, and that's scale. 10 years ago, most data centers were designed for web pages, email, video streaming, and cloud applications. Today, AI factories are completely different. Instead of dozens of servers, modern AI clusters contain thousands of GPUs working together on the same problem. Every one of those GPUs must constantly communicate with every other GPU. And that means enormous amounts of data are moving every second. And as AI models become larger, networking speeds continue to increase. You got 400G today, or gigabit transceivers, which quickly became 800 gigabit transceivers. And now the industry is beginning to deploy 1.6 terabit optical transceivers. And companies are already developing 3.2 terabit technologies for the next generation of AI clusters. The challenge isn't simply making faster transceivers, it's manufacturing enough of them. And every new AI factory requires thousands of optical links connecting racks of AI servers. And as hyperscalers continue building larger GPU clusters, demand for optical networking hardware continues to rise. That's why companies throughout the optical ecosystem are racing to expand production. Some are building the finished transceivers, others manufacture them for the industry's biggest players, and a few are trying to reinvent how future optical engines are built. Those are the three companies that we're going to evaluate today. Now that we understand why optical transceivers are essential to every AI factory, let's look at the companies building them. Our first company is Applied Optoelectronics, AAOI, stock symbol. Inside the AI factory, every company performs one critical job, and AAOI's job is straightforward. It designs and manufactures the optical transceivers that allow AI servers to communicate using light. Every time information leaves one AI server and travels across fiber optic cable, there's a good chance it passes through a transceiver built by companies like AAOI. And as clusters continue growing larger, demand for these tiny devices continues to increase. So the stock price was 124. I think it's around 119 today. As of July 10th, 2026. Market cap is around $10 billion. Employees are approximately 5,000. The earnings per share is approximately negative 66 cents. Unlike mature networking companies, AAOI is still in aggressive growth phase. Management isn't maximizing profits today. They're investing heavily to expand manufacturing capacity while demand continues to accelerate. So as hyperscalers continue to build larger GPU clusters inside the AI factory, the number of optical transceivers required continues growing alongside them. And that places AAOI directly in one of the fastest growing areas of AI infrastructure. So the bull case for AAOI is number one, AI networking demand. The company's data center business continues expanding rapidly. During the latest quarter, data center revenue more than doubled year over year to approximately $81 million. That growth is being driven primarily by shipments of 800G optical transceivers, with 1.6 terabit products expected to become an increasingly important driver over the next several years. As AI clusters become larger, bandwidth requirements continue to increase. AAOI is positioned directly in the middle of that trend. Number two is manufacturing expansion. This may be one of the most important numbers in the entire investment thesis. Today, AAOI manufactures approximately 100,000 optical transceivers per month. Management plans to increase that capacity to 650,000 modules per month by the end of 2026, and that's a massive expansion. The company is also increasing manufacturing capacity through a new 400,000 square foot facility, supported in part by a Texas Semiconductor Innovation Fund grant, which should be located just southwest of Houston, Texas, in Sugarland. If demand continues growing, AAOI intends to be ready. Three is the technology upgrade cycle. AI networking doesn't stand still. Industry continues moving from 400G to 800G to 1.6 terabits and eventually reaching 3.2 terabits optical networking. And every transition creates another opportunity for companies capable of delivering next generation transceivers or even co-packaged optics in the near future. The bear case: no investment is without risk, as AAOI faces three primary challenges. Customer concentration: a relatively small number of customers account for the majority of the revenue. Losing even one large hyperscaler customer could significantly impact financial results. Manufacturing execution: increasing production more than sixfold sounds exciting, but scaling manufacturing is never easy, and execution will be critical. And the last one for the bear case is the competition. The optical networking industry remains highly competitive, and AAOI competes against numerous well funded companies pursuing the same AI opportunity. Give it an AI factory score. Throughout the series, every company receives an AI factory score. This isn't designed to predict next week's stock price. Instead, it's our framework for evaluating a company's role inside the AI factory. Number one is importance. Optical transceivers are absolutely essential inside the AI factory, and without them, the factory cannot function. So it gets 5 out of 5 stars. Next is competition position. AAOI is one of the industry's leading transceiver manufacturers, but competition remains intense, so it gets 4 out of 5 stars. Next is growth potential. AI networking demand continues accelerating as hyperscalers expand GPU clusters, and it gets 5 out of 5 stars. Next is execution. The opportunity is enormous, but management must successfully execute a very ambitious manufacturing expansion, and it gets 3 out of 5 stars. And then last is valuation. Investors already expect significant future growth. That leaves less room for execution mistakes, and it gets 3 out of 5 stars for an overall rating of 4 out of 5 stars. And why this company could win. If AI factories continue expanding, someone has to build the transceivers connecting all the GPUs. AAOI isn't trying to invent a new technology. It's trying to become one of the industry's largest suppliers of one of AI's most essential components. And that's a straightforward investment thesis. Our second company approaches the AI factory from a completely different angle. Applied Optoelectronics builds its own optical transceivers, but Fabrinet, FN, stock symbol, ask a different question. What if you didn't have to pick the winning transceiver company? Instead, what if you could build products for many of the industry's biggest players, such as Coherent, Cisco, Lumentum, and many more, AAOI as well? That's exactly where Fabrinet fits inside the AI factory, as its role isn't designing the next optical engine. Its role is manufacturing the hardware that helps power the entire optical networking ecosystem. Think of Fabrinet as the master builder behind the scenes. And while companies like AAOI focus on designing and selling finished products, Fabrinet specializes in manufacturing highly complex optical products for many of the industry's leading technology companies. As AI networking demand increases, its customer increases production. And as they increase production, Fabrinet often benefits alongside them. That makes it a classic picks and shovels business. Why does it matter? Remember, we learned throughout this episode that every AI factory needs thousands of optical transceivers. Somebody has to manufacture all that hardware. And as AI clusters continue to grow, manufacturing becomes just as important as innovation. And that's where Fabrinet has built its reputation. Rather than relying on one product or one technology, the company benefits from growth across broader optical networking industry. Now for the bull case. There are three reasons investors continue watching Fabrinet closely. First is AI optical demand continues to accelerate. During its latest quarter, revenue increased approximately 39% year over year to roughly $1.2 billion. And even more impressive, revenue from data center interconnect products increased approximately 90% year over year. And that's one of the strongest indicators we've seen that AI networking demand remains extremely healthy. Second, you got manufacturing expansion. Fabrinet isn't waiting for demand, it's preparing for it. And construction of Building 10 in Thailand remains on schedule. When complete, management believes this facility could support approximately $3 billion of additional annual manufacturing capacity. And that's an enormous investment designed specifically to support future AI infrastructure growth. Third is diversification. Unlike many AI companies, Fabrinet doesn't depend on one customer, one product. As long as optical networking continues to expand, the company has multiple ways to participate. Now for the bear case. Of course, no investment is perfect. The biggest concern is valuation. At approximately 42 times earnings, investors are already expecting significant future growth. If AI spending slows, the stock could face pressure even if the business continues performing well. Another challenge is the supply chain. Even the world's best manufacturer still depends on receiving lasers and ASICs and other critical components on time. Shortages throughout the optical ecosystem can slow production. So FN, the stock price is around $486. Market cap is around 17 billion. The price for earnings ratio is around 42, slightly high. 16,000 employees in the company. Revenue is $1.21 billion. And the data center growth year over year is 90%, which is solid. Right now, let's evaluate Fabrinet using the AI Factory score. Importance gets 5 out of 5 stars. Manufacturing is absolutely essential, and without it, the AI Factory cannot scale. Competitive position, 5 out of 5 stars. Fabrinet has established itself as one of the world's premier manufacturers of complex optical products. Growth potential, 4 out of 5 stars. AI infrastructure demand remains extremely strong. Execution is 5 out of 5 stars. The company has consistently demonstrated its ability to scale production while maintaining quality. And then you got valuation, 3 out of 5 stars. It's an excellent business, but investors are already paying a premium. Overall, 20-minute stock hunt rating is 4 out of 5 stars. Why this company could win. As AI factories continue to expand around the world, somebody has to manufacture the hardware. And Fabrinet doesn't need to invent the next breakthrough. It simply needs to keep building more optical products for an industry that can't seem to build AI infrastructure fast enough. The final company is not trying to become the next Applied Optoelectronics, not trying to become the next Fabrinet either. Instead, it's asking a much bigger question. What if we completely change how optical engines are built? And the company is Poet Technologies, and in my opinion has one of the most interesting ideas in optical networking today. So let's go back to something we discussed earlier. Today's optical engines contain numerous individual components: lasers, waveguides, detectives, filters, packaging, alignment, testing. Building all that is incredibly complex. And Poet believes there may be a better way. Its technology is called the optical interposer. The technical explanation can become complicated very quickly, so let's simplify it. Instead of assembling optical engines one component at a time, Poet wants to manufacture them much more like semiconductor chips, and the company calls this the semiconductorization of photonics. And if that sounds ambitious, that's because it is. If the concept works, it could fundamentally change how future optical engines are manufactured. Instead of becoming larger, more expensive, and more complicated, future optical engines could become smaller, cheaper, power efficient, and easier to manufacture at scale. Exactly what rapidly expanding AI factories will require. Why this matters. Remember, every AI factory needs more bandwidth. 400G, 800G, 1.6T, and 3.2T soon enough. And as networking speeds continue to increase, manufacturing complexity increases as well. Poet's vision is to simplify that complexity, not by making a slightly better transceiver, but by changing how optical engines themselves are manufactured. So let's look at the financials. Poet stock price is around $8.80 as of July 9th or 10th. The market cap is around 1.5 billion. This is a highly speculative company. There's not many financials. Bull case. There are three reasons investors are watching Poet closely. First is the commercial production. Management continues targeting high volume production during the second half of 2026, with the long-term objective of approximately 1 million optical engines per month by the end of 2027. Second is the industry validation. The company has announced partnerships with organizations including Foxconn Interconnect Technology, Luxshare Lumelens, Light On, and Lessengers. Those relationships suggest that major industry participants are interested in evaluating the technology. Third is the AI opportunity, as every new AI factory requires more optical connectivity. If optical engines can eventually be manufactured more efficiently, Poet could participate in one of the fastest growing areas of AI infrastructure. The bear case is Poet also carries the highest level of risk in today's video. The company remains in early stages of commercialization, and its technology still needs to prove itself in large-scale production. Financially, the business remains pre-profit. Investors aren't buying today's earnings. They're investing in tomorrow's potential, and that creates significant upside, but also considerable execution risk. All right, let's give Poet an AI factory score. First is importance. Optical engines remain an essential part of future networking, and it gets 4 out of 5 stars. Competitive position, 3 out of 5 stars. Promising technology, but it's still early. The next is growth potential. 4 or 5. 5 out of 5 stars. If adoption accelerates, the opportunity could be enormous. Next is execution, and it gets 2 out of 5 stars. Commercial success still needs to be demonstrated. And the next is valuation. Much of the investment thesis depends on future execution rather than current financial performance. And it's an overall 20-minute stock hunt 5-star rating of 4 of 5 stars. So why this company could win? Sometimes the biggest winners don't build the best version of today's product. They invent tomorrow's products. And if the optical networking industry eventually embraces wafer level photonics manufacturing, Poet's optical interposer platform could become one of the technologies helping define the next generation of AI networking. So when we first started today's episode, I asked you to imagine building one of the world's most advanced AI factories. You got thousands of GPUs with miles and miles of fiber optic cable. You got powerful lasers, but without one tiny component, none of it works. And that tiny component is the optical transceivers. Here you have the established leader in AAOI, Fabrinet, which is similar but manufactures optical products for many of the industry's leading network companies. And then you have Poet, reinventing how future optical engines are manufacturing using photonic integration. Each company slightly different than the next. Today we learned that fiber carries the light, lasers create the light, transceivers send the light, and switches, which is next, is going to direct the traffic, which is the missing component, final missing networking component. And together they allow thousands of AI servers to communicate as one giant AI system. We also learned that with the three companies, you have 3 different investment philosophies, and they all perform one critical job inside the AI factory. So if you've been enjoying the AI Factory series and want to go even deeper, consider joining the AI Factory membership on buymeacoffee.com. Link in the description. Members receive AI Factory research notes, detailed company ratings, additional companies that we researched but could not fit into this video, behind the scenes research that helps explain where each company fits inside the AI Factory as well. If you'd like to support the channel while gaining access to those resources, we'd love to have you join us. The AI Factory membership. And as usual, this is not financial information. This is for entertainment purposes only, and we'll see you in the next one.